As mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, policies centered on juvenile crime and delinquency are progressing through a period of transition. Prior to 2010, lawmakers enacted harsh laws and regulations as a preventative means in an attempt to reduce youth involvement in crime. Since experiencing the lowest level of juvenile crime in 2010 since 1980, policymakers started to engage in a different approach to address policy issues. Bogenschneider, 2014, affirms the most profound predictor of juvenile crime is ineffective parenting. To exemplify, 30 to 40% of early offenders who also prove more likely to become violent in later years possess an antisocial behavior. Their behaviors stem from inconsistent parenting, such as threatening, nagging, or scolding without a follow-through of punishment. This occurs in the preschool years. The 5 policies presented early, however, place significant focus to reduce the number of juveniles in the justice system, offer fair treatment in facilities, and provide equitable opportunities for a successful reentry. Specifically, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, or ARC, an organization in support of Montgomery versus Louisiana, intends to present a second chance, per se, to juvenile delinquents who committed a nonviolent crime prior to the age of 18 and were sentenced to life without parole. If recognized in the state of California, these individuals could apply for parole and re-enter into society as adults. On the same token, the REDEEM Act, if passed, will remove potential barriers that formerly incarcerated juveniles endure amid the re-entry process. Both policies delimit juvenile delinquents to those who committed a non-violent related crime. However, the ARC organization still offers support for those with a violent past. Neither of the policies express the definition of violent crime or the notable boundary between the two categories of crime. Similarly, the proposed House Bill 274 and Senate Bill 40 intends for juveniles committing the most serious acts of crime to face trial as adults. The main focus of these bills link to the former 2 policies because its reason to raise the age of juvenile jurisdiction to 17 prevents individuals with less obstacles to face upon release from incarceration. If tried as an adult, juveniles obtain a criminal record, which negatively impacts their future work opportunities. The REDEEM Act addresses the issue of criminal records and institutes the concealment of nonviolent crimes. The 3 discussed policies, Montgomery versus Louisiana, the REDEEM Act, in addition to Senate Bill 40 and House Bill 274, appear to focus on the issues concerning the age at which one falls under juvenile jurisdiction, barriers formerly incarcerated individuals face upon releasal, and severity of punishment for juvenile crimes. While the philanthropic organization of ARC financially supports intervention programs, the Senate Bill 40 and House Bill 274 do not. The REDEEM Act aims to include a broader range of individuals in government assistance programs, such as food stamps, through precautionary measures. A commonality in these funded assistance stems from its intent of intervention rather than initial prevention. The policies may prevent reincarceration but do not make an attempt to view juvenile crime in an early developmental sense. In a diverse manner, the PROMISE Act and the reauthorization of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act propose primarily precautionary measures to prevent youth's involvement in criminal activity. To exemplify, the PROMISE Act specifically targets at-risk youth through funding of proven violence prevention programs. Although it is true these engagements reduce violent tendencies in juveniles, only one subgroup of the family receives the benefit. The individualistic ideal of this policy also fails to consider what juveniles experience at home following their program or mentoring session. Incorporating such measures does not promote a holistic approach. Children may still face issues in their home life and family entities despite the intervention from the support programs. Similarly, the reauthorization of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act aims to fund local programs to prevent delinquent behavior. Aside from programs designed for the individual, this policy intends to support parenting training and in-home services. Bogenschneider 2014 found the most cost-effective prevention programs and rehabilitation organizations enacted a family-centered approach. For example, the Old Nurses Family Partnership, a program that enabled mothers to receive nurse home visits. A study conducted on 19-year-olds whose mothers engaged in the program resulted in 1/5 fewer convictions and 1/3 fewer arrests. If formally authorized, the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act will financially support the profound effect of family-centered programs as a preventive measure to youth crime. Although both the Promise Act and reauthorization of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Act pivot deterrent actions in regards to at-risk youth, they differ in their involved subjects.